Man, so this is one of my favorite shows. I get to bring on my great partners. And today I'm going to be going live with James Massey. So James has been an agent for 8 years. This is how long he's been in real estate. And of course, this is how you know what kind of man James is. He had to throw in there. He's got a beautiful wife and 3 kids. And during that time in his business, he went from 36,000 to 360,000 in commissions in 12 months, then over 500,000 in the following 12 months. He's been at EXP for the last 3 years, partnered with Honey Badgers. We got the tattoo to show it. Past 3 years with the Honey Badgers. And now he has personally partnered with 35 agents and grown his team to 600. You heard that number right. 668 agents across the nation. Without further ado, let's go ahead and bring on James right after this. My name is Nick Krem, and if you're a real estate agent, my goal is to help you scale your business using social media, video, and your smartphone. Go to realestatecontentgroup.com. Join me on our free weekly mastermind where I'll teach you my organic strategies that help me scale my global real estate media company to over 10 countries in all 50 states. If you want to start treating your social media like a business and learn how to convert your audience into clients, claim your free spot at realestatecontentgroup.com. James Massey, what's going on, my man?
What's going on, Nick?
I love it. I love it. I love working with this group because, I don't even have to, I sent out a message like, hey, you want to come on the show? James doesn't even respond, just hops in the calendar. It's like, yep, he's there. Don't even question it. All you do is take action. Right.
Hey man, when you throw an invite out, dude, I gotta show up, brother.
Hey, the feeling's mutual, whether it's Atlanta or wherever we're going, I'm there.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so the purpose of this show is I love learning about people's journey in real estate because I believe everybody has a unique journey and we could all learn a little bit from it. So tell me, what was your defining moment where you're like, man, I got to get into real estate and this is what you wanted to do with your life?
Well, man, it's funny, man, because I actually started out as an investor first.
Really?
So so I was actually buying houses. Actually, when the pandemic hit, I actually had some other businesses. I had like a nut stand that I used to have in Turner Field at the time, which was the baseball field for the Atlanta Braves. Go Atlanta! We got one more game today, and we're moving on to the next level. Yeah. But I had some stores there. And, it was during the pandemic. I was making my money from the stores. But I was taking the money and I was turning around and I was buying houses super duper cheap in Metro Atlanta because like the prices were just so freaking low. Right. So, I was buying them for like, $15,000, $20,000 a pop. Yeah. So that was my thing is just, just to buy the stores. I mean, not to buy the store, but to buy the houses.
Right.
So, I was working with real estate agents at that time, and I really wasn't impressed or happy with how they were bringing me the deals.
Yeah.
So, my thought process was I'm going to go get my own real estate license. Right. And after I get my own real estate license, I don't need the real estic agent. I can just go and find my own deals on my own. So what happened is I ended up getting my real estate license. Right. The Brave season was about to kick back in. And, I was actually in the car driving to a bike shop, not a motorcycle bike shop, but like a riding bike shop because I was getting my bike fixed. I ride bikes. So had my wife in the car. Yeah. And the guy that was over, the concessions part of it gave me a call. So I was excited. I had my phone and everything. My wife was in there. I showed my wife. I was like, hey, look at this. Check this out. And, I'm about to start making money again. He's about to bring my stuff in. Yeah. So the guy calls me and then he starts to talk about how they're not going to renew my contract.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was kind of freaking out. I did asking the whys and whys not. So then I'm sitting up here, I'm looking over at my wife. She's quiet. I'm quiet.
Yeah.
So the next words just matter. So I looked over and I just started thinking. I was just like, I guess I got to go sell some houses.
Right.
So that's literally how I got into real estate. I never intended on being like a residential real estate salesperson.
Right.
It just kind of happened because they canceled that contract, and you
were forced into it. Like you both got burned, and it's like, man, I don't have any other choice but to go out there, sell some homes, support your family. Yep. And during that time, like talk to me about like that first experience, like just jumping into it, right? You don't have a boat to lean on. You're like, man, this is what I have to do. Talk to me about what was that experience like getting started in real estate for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the good part about it is that because I had my investment properties, I mean, I wasn't going to lose a house or a car or
Right,
anything like
right.
that. But you know, when you're used to making a certain amount of income, man, like
And it disappears overnight, literally. In
yeah,
one phone call, that income disappeared for you.
yep, man. One of the things that I did is I was going to this training, and
Okay.
I was in the training, and I
Yeah.
was sitting in the training. This is my first time. I mean,
Yeah.
I got to get serious about this thing now.
Yeah.
So the instructor gets up and he says 80% of the real estate agents make less than $35,000 a year. So
And you're just
right
getting
then,
started and you hear this. Like,
yeah, I'm just
what
getting
were you
started.
thinking after that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right then and there, I'm thinking like, man, what am I doing? Why did I get into this industry?
Right.
Nobody makes money, you know, like that. This wasn't the shows that I was looking at. These $1 million listings and stuff, like
Yeah.
80%. That's a big number.
That's a
You
big
know,
number.
so it became like, you know, the Charlie Brown cartoon where you know they're sitting up there and they're like you know, listen to the teacher and they're like wah wah wah. I did not hear nothing else
The
that
rest
guy
of the
said.
time.
I mean, I just totally went deaf on anything was coming out of his mouth from that point on.
Yeah.
So afterward, it was a break, and you know, I was sitting next to a guy, and his name was Al. And you know, I asked him, you know, I was looking for a pity party. I was like, hey man, how's real estate?
Yeah.
And dude looked over to me and he said, man, real estate is great. I got 8 closings in the month of December.
Wow.
Yeah. So right then I was faced with a choice. It was like, all right, this guy said that 80% make less than 35,000 a year.
Yeah.
This guy just said he got 8 closings in the quote unquote slow season in December.
Right.
So the next words out of my mouth was like, hey man, what are you doing for lunch? And I'll pay for it.
Yep.
You know, I mean, and literally that's what it was. So
Yeah.
I mean, I ended up going to lunch with him, and you know, he gave me some advice about some lead generation stuff. At the time, Zillow was big.
Right.
You know, I think they had just started, you know, started out there, and you know, a lot of people wasn't actually spending the money for there. And I went in there, I started, you know, doing Zillow leads and just kind of building, you know, my whole database and pipeline from there. But that's literally, you know, how I got started with you know, real estate sales.
Man, I love it because you can always look at the two sides of the coin, right? Where they're going to tell you most people are going to fail. And it's good to hear that too, right? That you don't come into this all sunshines and rainbows, like real estate is great. You're going to succeed no matter what. So you had that. It's like the carrot and the stick, right? Like you kind of need both at a certain point. But tell me, how important was it for you to get not whether you partner with them or not, but to sit down and have lunch with that individual who is succeeding at a high level and was able to roll out that roadmap for you?
Man, I mean, it was vitally important because, you know, as coming from as an investor, if anybody work with investors, they already know, man, we feel like we know more than anybody anyways, you know, especially when it comes to an agent. So when I got into it, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When I got into it, you know, I realized I was like, hey man, this is a little bit harder than I thought. So it was, you know, it wasn't coming. You know, I was thinking, I'm gonna get into this thing, I'm gonna crush it and all this other stuff. So you know, the information that he was able to share with me and just kind of give me like a kind of a roadmap. I mean, it was very, very helpful. You know what I'm saying? He gave me like this little flyer that he put out. So I was able to start copying. You know, I always make a joke about myself. I always say like, hey, you know, I was a C student in high school, and then I occasionally get an A and B depending who I was sitting next to.
Yeah.
And so if you give me something that's working for you, and you just tell me that all I gotta do is copy it and duplicate it, man, I'm about to run to the marathon with that. You know what I mean?
I love it. So, you know, a lot of times too, you know, you started crushing it by yourself, like as an individual agent. What was it for you that made you take that next step, you know, to start creating a team, to start bringing people on and start sharing the value that you just got?
Well, one of the things that happened, like, you know, we had like a office or a bullpen at the brokerage I was at.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I went there and I was asking questions to agents that been there for a very long time, you know, nobody wanted to help me. You know, like nobody wanted to give me any information.
Because you're competing with them, right?
Yeah, because I guess, you know, at the time I was thinking like, man, what's going on? It's enough for everybody, you know?
Right. It's a law of abundance. Like if you sell a home, that doesn't mean I'm losing a home.
Exactly. So it was actually
especially Atlanta.
Yeah,
Atlanta's
exactly.
big enough for, I don't care how many agents are in Atlanta. There's enough homes for everybody.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I strongly believe that, but
Yeah.
everybody doesn't have that same belief. But
Right.
but I mean, it was one guy. I mean, he was a listing agent. He used to
Right.
get all these listings, and I
Yeah.
went to him, and we was real cool. Like we'd go
Yeah.
out, have lunch, and all this other stuff. And
Yeah.
I told him, I said, hey man, why don't we meet and you tell me a little bit, what you're doing to get these listings.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, man, I'll get back with you and I'll let you know. And
We didn't get back with you.
he didn't get back with me. He never got back with me.
Right.
So afterward, I started thinking, like, all right, okay, I got to sweeten the offer a little bit. So I was like, hey, man, I'm going to treat you to lunch. Why don't we sit back and then, we kind of go over some stuff. You give me some pointers of some of the stuff you're doing. And like, yeah, man, I'm going to get back with you on that. Like,
Didn't get back with you.
Still didn't get back with me. So I was like, okay, all right. So I'm going to just go straight in direct with it.
Right, yeah.
I told him, I said, hey, man, I'm going to pay you money so I can sit down and you can show me, what it is. Tell me how much you want to charge for it.
Yeah.
I'm going to get back with you. Never got back with me.
Still didn't get back with you.
Still didn't get back with me, So it was one of those type deals. So, I mean, like I said, I was doing all right as a solo agent.
But you were looking to get to that next level, and you're looking to, I mean, just like you said, you could try and figure it out yourself, but why would you if somebody's already there? So you're looking for that next step.
Yeah, I was searching. I was definitely searching. I knew something had to be better.
Right.
At the time, like I said, I had my businesses before,
right,
and I didn't have to necessarily be there in order to make money. So with the real estate, I had to personally be there in order to make money. I had to sell every single house in order to make money, and I never felt comfortable with that. I never liked it. So I'm trying to find leverage. That's really what it was. I was trying to find leverage. Going to listings to get leverage, getting somebody else to get leverage. And I never forget, it was a guy that called me one day, and out of the blue, and his thing was like, hey, do you want to have a real estate business or be in real estate? And I was like, okay, you got my attention. What's going on?
Right.
What is this
Instantly,
about?
that's my pain point now.
Exactly. Only doing the parts of the business that you enjoy doing. So so I ended up joining that whole coaching platform. I ended up leaving the brokerage I was there, and I went and joined that coaching platform. And it was all about building teams. And I thought that was my way out, to be honest with you. So I went down that route of building a team and hiring agents, having inside sales agents, and grew. We grew pretty fast doing that. So that was the transition at that point, where I thought I was like, all right, I'm now creating the leverage that I wanted and the freedom that I wanted.
So talk to me about how that wasn't exactly freedom. What were some of those things? Of course, the grass is always greener, right? Some of those things that you can't see when you say growing a team, those pain points that you had to feel through that experience.
Yeah, man. I mean, initially everything was, it was work, obviously, but it was good work. So I mean, I was finally, having, deals to be done without me actually having to be there. So I had, inside sales agents, I had, transaction coordinators, I had a marketing person, and so things was happening. But what I started realizing is that, the agents that I was bringing on board, that I was sharing and buying leads for, once they got to a certain point, they would leave.
Because they're like, all right, I got everything I can get. I feel like I want to go do what James is doing, so they take off.
Yep. I mean, and it's funny you said that, because that's something I always tell everybody, which is different than what we're doing now. It's like, I never ever wanted anybody to be me. I didn't want them to be me.
It wasn't a true partnership.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't. Yeah.
No. It really
they didn't want to share their goals and aspirations because that would mean leaving you.
That's right.
And it's almost like you almost didn't want to share that because it would mean them leaving you as well.
Yep.
So it's a tough boat, because I'll tell you what, if I can't tell you what I want out of life confidently with the return of like, yes, I want you to get there, that's not a partnership. That's a job. And as a job and a boss, the boss doesn't want you to do better than them, and the employee doesn't want to let you know that you want their job.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. I mean, it's flawed. I mean, that the model in of itself is flawed.
Right.
I mean, it was beneficial. Somebody stay with you for a year, 2 years or something like that. and then they're off and gone, and you feel a certain kind of way because now your best agents are always leaving, and you're having to replace them, and it's like a revolving door,
right?
And and then
you finally train someone up, they're taking everything on, they're hitting the leads, and it's like, all right, see you, James.
That's it. That's exactly what it is. And I mean, you try to put parameters in place like, hey, these are my leads, even if you leave. But I mean, you can't monitor that stuff.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's like you almost don't want to do that because you want them to win, but it's like we want to win together, right?
Exactly.
So let me ask you this. If I would have told that James Massey, that one there, that you would have 668 agents in your organization, what would have been your response to me?
Man, I would have been blown away, one.
Yeah.
And based on the situation, I was like, man, that would have been a whole lot of work, based on that model that I was in before.
right.
You're doing a lot of babysitting in that model.
Yeah. So, I mean, let me ask you this. How is it the partnership, the true partnership, how has that changed your life when you're creating the 668 agents? Because, look, you can't handle 668 by yourself. Yeah. So how has the model and the true partnership with everybody here changed the way you live life now?
Man, I mean, what I always say is like, what I'm doing now is I'm plugging people into a machine.
Yeah.
Right. So if you can plug them into the machine is already running. Honey Badger Nation, what everybody's built in and everybody's working together. I mean, it's just a matter of just getting plugged in. Like when I got plugged in, I'll never forget. I went to my first mastermind and I came back and I was changed to new. That's why I
Key West?
Key West. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. So I think that's when you got your
That's not when I got the tattoo, guys. That's not when I got that. That was about a couple months after. That's when I was brought in too. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but I want to just kind of getting plugged into the system. So like when the agent come on board, I plug them to the Honey Badgers Facebook. We got.
Can you give me a specific example of a time when you needed help, you needed guidance, you needed somebody to plug in, and a time when a Honey Badger was able to plug right in and help you out?
Yeah. I mean, a good example would be with Jay. Like one of the things that I was trying to figure out, how to go to $1 million in commission.
Yeah.
Jay, he just brought things into perspective. He just said, was like, hey, are you looking to just be a GCI, or are you looking at your net number, what you're going to walk away with after everything is paid and done? And then he said, I've never been able to pay my house note with GCI. So like, I mean, it was like a hit in the face with me. It was like, dude, come on, man, like profit. That's what you should be thinking.
And you never would have figured that out unless somebody that's already been there was able to tell you, or spending years trying to solve that problem.
Yeah. But because at the other place that we were at before, I mean, it was all about GC. That's all they ever talked about. I remember the guy that I went to, who was, coach / owner. I was asking like, man, what I got to do to get to these numbers? He said, man, your problem is you're not spending enough. So in other words, he wanted me to spend more money, Yeah. So like, when I come over here, with the Honey Badgers, they're talking about, no, like you got to be more profitable. They're not talking about you just need to spend more, It like me spending more at that brokerage was good for him because he got paid based upon my GCI. It didn't matter what my profit was.
Right.
So, that was a big thing.
Right. And man, I'll tell you what, for the people out there, Honey Badger Nation, what can you tell us about your personal experiences? Tell me why it's, in my opinion, the best group in all of real estate.
Man, it's the collaboration, man. Like, honestly, you got so many high level agents in this group that is, that want to share. I mean, I always say, man, it's a difference. You got people, you got three type of people, right? You got people that don't want to share.
Yeah.
You got people that are willing to share.
Right.
And you got people that want to share.
Ooh, that's good.
So when you got people that want to share, they're jumping over hoops to give you their information and give you their playbooks of what they've been able to do to be successful.
Right.
So that's been a huge deal for me. It's been a huge deal for the agents that I've been able to bring on board, and that's why I can comfortably say, you get plugged in our group, you're gonna sell more houses. But not only that. But we're going to create an exit strategy that's going to be like no other, that no agent has ever had in the history of selling real estate.
And I think that what you said there is so key. It's the point of, if you want to sell more houses, we can do that. If you want to be better at short sale, we can do that. If you want to be better on social media, we can do that. If you want to grow a bigger team, we can do that. Why? Because we have an individual who's been there, done that, and became an expert in that specific field. So whatever you want to do, we have a person, and that last part you said, that is willing, that is jumping through hoops to get you that information.
Absolutely, man.
Man, James, closing remarks. What do you got for me? Hit me with it, James.
Hit you with it. Hey, man, we about to take over. Honey Badger's about to take over. We about to go to 1 million agents over here within our company. And, what I tell you when I first jumped on, like, I'm living the freaking dream. Everybody's living the dream right now.
Yeah, I love it, James. I love it, James. Thank you so much for coming on. Like I said, it took one message and you were in my calendar. I appreciate you hopping on here, James. And guys, go ahead, watch the intro. Go to the realestatecontentgroup.com. Join our free group. We'll see you guys later.
All right.
My name is Nick Krem, and if you're a real estate agent, my goal is to help you scale your business using social media, video, and your smartphone. Go to realestatecontentgroup.com. Join me on our free weekly mastermind where I'll teach you my organic strategies that help